Dr. Crosley, for that. Okay, so here we are today. Welcome, faculty, staff, students, and families of the Pinewood students in the class of 21-22. Today we are going to present 3 of our senior speeches. This has been a journey for everybody in the senior class. The process started last semester with a full research paper. The students chose their topics and they were approved. And the research papers were completed last semester. This semester, they pulled the research from their papers in order to write a speech, which you will hear today. This morning, judging the speeches, we have Ms. Kay Garrett, Ms. Mandy Adams, Mrs. Lindsay Hargrove, and Mrs. Adrian Robertson. Thank you all for being here, and I think in the coming days you'll hear all of the speeches, and there'll be some surprises that you'll find interesting. So this morning, like I said, we have 3 presenters, and the first presenter this morning is Natnael. Thank you.
I have a confession to make here on this stage today. My first time here at the Pinewood School, it was 4 years ago. If you ever told me I would be here today giving my senior speech, I would never believe it. As a matter of fact, I'll probably make fun of you. But here I am today on this beautiful stage, looking fantastic, getting ready to give my senior speech. And I can't be more proud to stand in front of this beautiful family. Good morning, Pinewoods. Good morning, pandemic survivors, COVID-19 survivors, class of 2022, 23, 24, 25, and 26 as well. My name is Natnael, and as y'all can hear from my accent, I'm an international student and a graduating senior here at the Pinewood School from all the way Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. Truth be told, being an international student in the United States is not easy. That was why I was interested in and chose to work on my senior research paper on the transition of international students from their home country to the United States and from high school to college. As the institution of international education, the United States is the #1 country that invites international students. In the academic year 2018-2019, roughly 1.1 million international students were reached, including my fellow international student friends and me. According to our research, in the academic year 2018-2019, more than 1 million international students were reached, which makes it the 4th consecutive year with more than 1 million international students. And according to our data, international students contributed 44.7 billion to the U.S. economy in 2018, an increase of 5.5% from the previous year. But for my senior speech, I wanted to dig deeper than the money, status, and numbers, and focus on the adjustments we have to make during and while our transition to everything. And when I say everything, I mean to say leaving the place that we were born in and raised at an early age, and those weird feelings at the airport that we face, and those million questions in our head if we make the right decision or not, and the long flight we had to take, and the panic during the long flight, and finally when we get here, the weather, the food, the list goes on. But for me, one of the hardest one was the people with the lack of knowledge of where we came from. But before we get into deep, let's take a look on this interview of this young man that I thought it was interesting. And this young man is also where I'm from, and he kind of look like me too, so let's take a look.
That's funny. But listen, before we go, a question I just wanted to ask you, I wanted to ask you this question, and I want you to answer just from your heart to the heart of the listeners. What was it like? What was your experience like as an international student? What was the transition experience like coming from Ethiopia all the way to the U.S.?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. It's been a little challenging, with the unhealed trauma, it like it really messed with me to this day and how I interact with others. And when you add that to, for us, adapting and adjusting to this huge transition, you can only imagine what be going on with us. And not just me, others too, like they be dealing with a lot more stuff, maybe worse situation than this with their transition. So I feel like that's something that needs more attention. It's not just you in American school from Africa, that's the best thing that happened to you, like this, it comes with a lot of, responsibilities, and I think a lot of people down here, don't understand where you came from, not just physically, but, mentally, and which they not supposed to, not blaming nobody, but, and I know we have to go in New York, we're running out of time, but one thing I want to throw out there is that, one of the big thing with our transition, which is, going to stay with family during holiday breaks.
Right.
I've been the victim of it. I found myself, homeless on the streets at some point.
Wow.
Because of the situation I got into with the family that I was staying with during my visit, and I had to find my way back to a safe place. And this is just one out of millions. Imagine what the other millions are going through. Coming to the Pioneer Woods in 2018, hoping to focus and isolate myself from the outside, was a blessing and a curse. But through God, who gave me the strength through this hard time, I made it through. It was a curse because not having your loved ones around at that early age and dealing with whatever is in front of you, that was definitely hard. But it was a blessing because it made me the person I am today, the human being I am today, and the Nati I am today, which I'm so grateful for and something that I'll never take for granted. And as I'm ready to prepare and give up on my high school adventure and graduate, I will cherish and appreciate every past experiences that I'm here at the Pioneer Woods. And as I'm ready to close out, I want to say this was one of the hardest part of my speech, picking and choosing who to mention and thank. But I would like to take this time to thank the people that were here for me throughout my journey here at the Pioneer Woods. But first, I would like to start by thanking God for all the blessings. I would like to thank Mr. and Miss Crosley for giving me this opportunity 4 years ago and believing in me and letting me join this beautiful family. We've been through a lot. I put some of y'all through a lot of my times here. Miss Nika, I would like to say thank you for taking this journey with me, even though we didn't get along my first year. Dr. Tillman, Dr. Beery, Mr. Patrick, Miss Robertson, I would like to say thank y'all for being here with us throughout our journey here at Pioneer Woods. Miss Derek, I would like to say thank you for putting me in a position where I was able to help my personal life problems. I would like to thank my classmates. I would like to thank Mr. Davis for, I know I met you a couple months ago, but I would like to thank you for caring me. And last but not least, I would like to thank my family, even though they're not here today to see the young man I've become, especially my dad. I made a promise to mention his name today long ago and say rest in peace and hope he's proud. And lastly, I would like to thank each and every one of you if you are a part of this family, and God bless.
For giving me this chance first. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Students, faculty and staff, and my fellow classmates. My name is Rakeb, a senior from Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. It is an honor to stand in front of you today to present my senior speech about adoption and its economic impact in Ethiopia. According to UNICEF, there are about 153 million orphans worldwide, and about 5,700 children become orphans during the day. Adoption is the process of legally taking someone else's child and raising as of your own. There are two types of adoption, domestic and international. But today, I'm mainly going to focus on adoption in Ethiopia. If you don't know where Ethiopia is a developing country located in east side of Africa, also known as the Horn of Africa, with a population of 115 million people. Adoption has been a part of the Ethiopian society for centuries. In the official language of Ethiopia, adoption translates to guddufecha. There are a number of reasons why the number of orphans increased in Ethiopia. But today, I'm mainly going to focus on 3 of them. According to my research, Ethiopia has about 6 million teenagers. According to EDHS, the Ethiopian Demographic and Health Survey, the teenage pregnancy rate between the age of 15 till 19 is 51%, making it one of the highest in Africa. The other big issue due to the economy is unplanned family. I actually want everybody's participation in this. How many of you have 1 to 5 kids in your household? Help me by raising your hands. Ooh, okay. And how many of you have more than that? See, it is rare to see those numbers here in the United States. But would you believe me, in the countryside of Ethiopia, it is normal to see those numbers. You might see 7 to 8, 9 children in one household from one mother and one father. And due to the economy, it is hard to raise that big family. I know you heard me say economy often. It's because poverty is the main issue. Even though I hate to say it, trust me, I hate to say it, Ethiopia is one of the poorest countries in the world, with an annual average salary of $205 and almost 78% of the population living under a salary of $2 per month. Ethiopia was actually managing to send children abroad with the process of international adoption to countries like Spain, England, Italy, America, and other international countries with the help of organizations that work strictly on orphans. But that only lasted until 2013, because in 2013, an American couple were convicted of a crime committed against Hannah Williams and Emmanuel Williams, a 13-year-old girl and a 10-year-old deaf boy, both adopted from Ethiopia. This case gave the Ethiopian government the green light to go ban international adoption in 2018. Number of organizations started closing due to the ban because of lack of donors and low budgeting from the government. This issue would have been solved if the government had the budget to support the children, but they did not, because Ethiopia was also losing the foreign currency that she was getting by the process of international adoption. That led orphans and organizations like Hope, Children's and Elders Aid Organization to struggle. If you are wondering why I chose to stop or what my relations are with the organization, it belongs to my late father, Gamatrutallah. This organization was actually named after my mother because my father said he wants to give the children the same hope that my mother gave him in life. I thought it was corny, but hey, we cannot deny it is romantic. It is romantic. This organization is my legacy, like how Piney was is Dr. Lawrence Jones's legacy. This organization is on my hands right now. It is my obligation to make sure that my father's dreams come true, because all he ever wished for was for everybody to be loved the same way he loved his daughters. Piney was taught me how to be responsible, how to communicate, how to be respectful, and the meaning of legacy. That is why I am not ashamed to say I am going to be one of the best lawyers who's going to support children around the globe. After I am done with my purpose here, I am going to go back to my country and work with the organization that my father left behind for me. I want to thank everyone for pushing me to success. Class of 2022, I am so proud of you. Look how far we came. We loved each other, we cried each other, we got angry at each other, we advised each other, but more than that, you showed me how to truly love people. And you showed me how to be selfless. And for that, I want to thank you. Howie and Bami, reason I'm standing here today. And I want to thank you for believing in me. And I want to thank you for really pushing me hard. And I want to thank God, my beloved parents, my sister, Miss Nika, Mr. Patrick, all the Piney Woods family, for literally pushing me to success, because I would not be here standing telling you my future if it was not for y'all. I want to thank everybody for giving me their attention. Thank you. God bless. I love y'all.
Now we're coming to the last stretch of today's speeches, and we have last but not least, of course, it's Landyn Smith.
I need to get myself together real quick. Y'all don't mind? Before I start my speech, I want to give a big shout out to Dr. Beatty. She might not be mentioned in the thank yous as much, but Dr. Beatty has stayed here with us till 8, 9 o'clock at night practicing for these She's the reason that these speeches are flowing so seamlessly. She's the reason Rocky didn't fall in her heels. You know? And I want to thank her for that. Let's get this on start. Hatred and anger are powerless when met with kindness. Good morning, Piney Woods staff, faculty, students, and my beautiful class of 2022. Hey, Mom. My name is Landyn Smith, and today we will be taking a deep dive into a subject matter that many are too timid to discuss. The topic of discussion today is abuse, and the abuse that we will be covering will be divided into 3 different categories. These range from physical abuse, which is any form of physical harm, such as punching, hitting, slapping, kicking, jumping at, or spitting on, or inappropriate touching, and the list goes on. The next form of abuse that we will cover today is verbal abuse. Verbal abuse can be described as name-calling or saying things such as, "I hate you," or "you're stupid." Cursing and using derogatory language against your child is also a form of verbal abuse. The last form, and possibly the worst form of abuse that we will cover today, is mental abuse. Mental or emotional abuse is any form of psychological mistreatment. Some ways can be isolating a child or rejecting a child. It can cross the vein of verbal abuse by belittling a child or threatening to harm them or the people that they care about. And it can also cross over into the vein of physical abuse by destroying a child's possession or pets. Abuse is broad, and there are so many children subjected to this in foster care. In Mississippi, per section 43-21-105 of the Mississippi Code says, abusing a child means that any child whose parent, guardian, or custodian, whether legally obligated to do so or not, has caused or allowed to be caused harm upon that child. Sexual abuse, sexual manipulation, emotional abuse, mental injury, non-accidental physical injury, and other maltreatments are considered abuse under this section. Provided, however, that the physical act of spanking, when done in a reasonable manner, shall not be deemed abuse under this code. This means that any excessive or inordinate behavior or discipline brought out by a parent, guardian, or custodian is considered abuse. These next pictures will be a little gruesome. Abuse has always been a major problem in the foster care system in Mississippi. In Mississippi, according to the Children's Welfare League of America, in 2017, there were 33,267 referrals for abuse. Now, of these referrals, 27,775 were referred for investigation. Also, in 2017, there were 10,429 victims of abuse, and that was at a rate of 14.6 per 1,000 children. Of these children, 75.7% of them were neglected, 14.8% of them were physically abused, and 11.2% of them were sexually abused. Now ask yourselves, does this abuse affect these children negatively? Everyone in this room today can attest to the fact that abuse is never necessary under any circumstances. I feel if you were abused, once you're comfortable enough with your life and your story, that you should spread awareness and show the signs of being abused. I was never personally abused, But my mother, who works for the Mississippi Department of Child Protective Services, comes home and tells me stories all the time about her team has to work with these children. Seeing her work with these children, seeing her help these people who are in these horrible situations, and helping these children who deserve nothing less than a perfect life has inspired me not only to adopt, but to become an advocate against child abuse and neglect in my future. Today, as well as the following days, you will hear some wonderful information from my classmates. Many of the speeches that you will hear will sound like advocates speaking for their cause. And that's because this place has attracted such beautiful minds and teachers like Miss Nika, who is emotional yet caring, and Mr. Patrick, who has got a joke for every day of the week. Teachers like Mr. Gonzalez, who is going to be hard, but you're going to learn. Staff members that nurture us like Dr. Tillman, Ms. Durr, all the Miss Smiths. I want to thank these people and all the people here at the Pineywood School for not only helping us to manifest our innermost passions, but helping us to be comfortably us and unapologetically us, not only here, but in college and outside of any campus, outside of any school, but in life. The lessons that I have learned not only from these people, but from my classmates will stick with me for the rest of my life. Thank you.
I'd like to thank our judges today. My gratitude goes out to you all. They'll be here again tomorrow, and we will have, yes, thank you. And we will be presenting 3 more speeches tomorrow. So we will see you back here tomorrow morning at the same place, same time. Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your patience this morning. We've been using this time each morning to hear from our young people. We will again this morning. But let's first open with a word of prayer. Lord, we thank you now for this day that you've given to us. This beautiful, glorious day. We praise you for it, for each and every individual who's here with us on today. May each individual be blessed. May each family represented be blessed. May we all be empowered by the words of these young people. Stand with them as they communicate with us. Give them your guidance. Give them faith as they step forward to do that which we know they're capable of. It's in your name we pray. Amen. Just brief word, again, talking about character. I'll come back to some of this, but I do want to say that one core part of character is consistency. Consistency, right? You can't be one thing on day 1 and something different on day 2. You got to be consistent. You got to come every day ready, prepared to give it your all. And so I want to say more about that. And then one other piece I want to say something about is that you all hear, many mornings you all hear Ms. Crossley say, character is a sense of what you do when no one's watching, right? Because one thing about character is that you can't have sort of different personas. You know, we live in a world where people tend to have one persona that they put out in the public, one persona that they put online, one persona that they put in social media, but if you meet them in person, you find a very different person, right? And one thing about character is that you are who you are, and you're going to present how you're going to present each and every time, right? So I just leave you with those 2 tidbits this morning. I know that the young people we hear from this morning are going to present with ultimate character. We're excited to hear from them. I'll leave you in the hands of Dr. Beatty. Thank you.
morning, everyone. Once again, we're here for 3 more of the senior speech presentations this morning, and I think you'll enjoy these. These are 3 very special speeches. Thank you. Our first presentation will be given by Beamlak.
What mental health needs is more sunlight, more candor, and more unashamed conversations. Glenn Close. How many of us in here can freely talk about mental health in public or on occasions like this? It takes a lot, doesn't it? It takes a lot of strength to address matters like this. Matters that are judged, stigmatized, and most importantly, overlooked and invalidated. After gathering that strength, I am standing here in front of you today to address mental health. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, students and teachers, and our hardworking staff members. I am Beamlak, a senior here at the Pioneer School from Ethiopia, Addis Ababa. Mental health is a sensitive topic, especially for those who are dealing with one. I was tempted to change my senior speech because I myself feared the idea of talking about mental health on a stage this big. Part of it was because I thought I had it all figured out from my own experience, and I was hesitant to share that with other people. But the more I dug in deep, the more I learned what I thought I knew was not even close to what mental health actually is and the level of effect it has on our society. Before the 20th century, there were no references to the term mental health. There were no allusions to the phrase until 1948, when the World Health Organization was established. Before that year, experts used the word mental hygiene instead of mental health. Scientists define mental hygiene as the science of maintaining one's health and preventing the development of mental illness, indicating that the thought of mental health was still prevalent. Every stage of life necessitates the maintenance of mental health. The importance of mental health have no limit. It can affect anyone regardless of age, gender, ethnic background, or income. Mental illness, like other illnesses, impairs our capacity to operate. It can affect our relationships, careers, and even our day-to-day activities that are supposed to be easy. And I'm pretty sure most of us relate to that. Raising awareness is one of the many things that can be done to break the stigma surrounding mental health. But how many of us are actually willing to do that? That's a question for you to answer. Many people, both in the past and present, associate mental health with being wild, theatrical, and overdramatic, and believe it's all in the mentally ill person's mind. However, mental health encompasses more than mental illness and insanity. There is a rise in stereotypical judgments and lack of attention in our society. Many people tend to compare mental health with physical health, considering physical health more important than mental health. But what if I told you, research actually showed that mental illnesses can also be caused by hereditary or genetic problems, which makes the comparison of physical and mental health invalid. This is Bethany Whitaker, a nurse in the United Kingdom. She was diagnosed with anorexia when she was 17. I came across Beth in the documentary Don't Call Me Crazy. She opens up about her disease and how others treated her as a result. Not only did she struggle mentally, but Beth also had to receive help because of frequent seizure and skin irritation. She struggled both mentally and physically. It was hard observing her rehabilitation process, but one thing I learned from her story is that misjudgment and communication can actually transform a person with mental disorder. Where I came from, Ethiopia, the awareness of mental health is exceptionally low. Imagine going through depression or any sort of mental illnesses without the idea of what it actually is. More than 95% of the Ethiopian population is not educated enough on the topic of mental health, and teenagers deal with the consequences that come after that. I was and still am one of those teenagers. 4 years ago, when I came to Pioneer Woods, I had no idea what mental health was. And as great of a school as Pioneer Woods is, it did not make my situation easy,
nor did it help with my lack of knowledge on mental health. I had to teach myself how to cope with it. And as I mentioned, with stereotypical judgments, I could not dare speak upon it, which made me feel like I was alone. Today, I chose to speak on mental health because I wanted to show the student body that you're not alone. I know mental health is a topic that's not spoken of as it should be. So I chose to use this opportunity, hoping that I can at least get one person to realize that they're not alone. The same way I want to minor in psychology and raise awareness, especially in my home country, Ethiopia. To conclude my speech, first I would like to thank God, for I never felt His presence leave me throughout my journey in Pioneers or in life in general. Second, I would like to thank my family, especially my grandmother, for shaping me to the person I've become today and will continue to be in the future. At last but not least, I would like to thank the Pioneer School in general for teaching me a life-lasting lesson that I'm for sure I would not have gotten if I had spent my last 4 years somewhere else. Before I go to my seat, I would like to add one more thing. My grandmother always told me, cherish what you have before it becomes something you had. Class of 2022. What we had is something unique. We were so focused on graduating, we failed to recognize the times we spent together. I'd like to say thank you for the experience you've given me, and thank you for listening.
Next, we'll have Hawinet Adugna. She will have
Thank you. Kidney disease is a low-profile disease that disproportionately strikes the minority and the poor. Virginia Postura. Good morning, faculty, staff, students, and class of 2022. I am Hawinet, a graduating senior from Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. It's an honor to stand in front of the Pioneers family and present a topic that's close to my heart, kidney disease in East Africa, especially in children and women. Approximately 1.2 billion people live in extreme poverty. As of 2015, half of the poor people live in Ethiopia, Nigeria, and Congo. How many of you are aware of kidney disease? The world should conduct more research, publicity, and awareness of kidney disease because it's killing 41 million people per year. Nowadays, it's unusual to discover new disease. Researchers know about polio, Ebola, and now COVID. When it comes to training disease, people appear to care and treat for themselves. But on the other hand, kidney disease is not widely recognized. CKD, or chronic kidney disease, is a gradual loss of kidney function. From my research, I discovered that diabetes and hypertension covers 2/3 of the CKD cases in the world. It is slightly greater in women than men by 2%. Chronic kidney disease affects 1 in 10 adults. A woman, over 195 million cases have been reported, and is the 8th leading cause of death. There are many effects of chronic kidney disease. We can separate it as long-term and short-term. The long-term includes anemia, high blood pressure, and nerve damage. The short-term includes low immune system and weakness. Poverty and social deprivation are known to affect the diagnosis and management of CKD. Also, growing evidence links CKD to poverty. With less developed countries leading the number, 10% of the population is dying. One thing we all know is that Africa is one of the poorest continents. Most of the countries are living below the poverty line. This research was made by BAMC, which shows the overall prevalence in general population was higher in sub-Saharan Africa than Northern Africa. East Africa, being the 3rd affected area, it shows that there are many factors that affect the disease, like lifestyle, poor nutrition, and social status. My research focused on Kenya and Ethiopia. Kenya is in East Africa, shares a border with South Sudan, Uganda, and Ethiopia. The most common hospital admissions and CKD are due to dehydration and septic shock syndrome. Children with acute kidney injury may develop CKD later in life. The next country will be Ethiopia. Ethiopia is in East Africa, located in the Horn of Africa. In Ethiopia, 20% of the population has a kidney problem. Ethiopia is facing double burden from contagious and non-contagious disease. Kidney disease accounts 4.5% of all admissions. If you're wondering why I'm doing this speech, it's not only because I want to be a doctor, it's because one of my closest friends lost a loved one to kidney disease. Her story inspired me to encourage people to do their research and also to raise awareness. Being in Piney Woods opened my perspective about environmental factors and health issues. I believe education is for improving life of others. Planning on pursuing my higher education by studying biology is my main goal. Using my knowledge and skills to save people's life is the answer to my purpose in life. Developing vaccines, cures, and treatments gives me a special satisfaction. Class of 2022. I feel the boy I would never want to lose. Even though we had our moments, the moments we made are unforgettable. From getting on each other's nerves to be one another comfort, it was truly a remarkable journey. For underclassmen, enjoy it. These are the years where you meet lifelong friends. Keep up the hard work because it's going to pay off. As my time in Piney Woods is coming to an end, I would like to cherish every moment because those moments are what made me who I am today. I would like to thank God for his blessings, my family, my friends, and also the Piney Woods family. I'm out. Thank you.
Before I announce the next presenter, I want to announce our judges again today. We have Miss Mandy Williams, Miss Robertson, Miss Sharia Smith, and of course, Miss Lindsay Hargrove. Our next presenter will be Jayden Williams.
We got this, Jayden.
We do not show the Negro how to overcome segregation, but we teach them how to accept it as final and just. Carter G. Wilson. Welcome my beautiful Piney Woods family. My name is Jayden Williams, a graduating senior from Hattiesburg, Mississippi. And today, I'll be feeding you a cerebral, important, life-changing information about the increase of home ownership opportunities in Mississippi. Seen today, it is harder for African Americans to own homes and gain sustainability than any other race. As of today, and what has been going on for so long, the African American community faces many issues, like low income, poor credit, and many more barriers that pushes African Americans away from home ownership. There is a huge gap between black and white homeowners in the United States. Their rate has increased to its highest level in the last 50 years. Urban First measured discrimination against racial and ethnic minorities in the year 1989, showing a substantial number of discriminatory treatments toward the Hispanic and African American communities in rental and sale markets nationwide. Decades later, a study group called the 2000 Housing Discrimination Study has found that African Americans, Hispanics, Asians, and Native American home seekers have significant levels of discrimination. There are many resources to build African American credit scores. Benefits of gaining credit scores would be renting a majestic home, landing a job, and gaining the upper hand in negotiations. For those of you that do not know about credit scores is a 3-digit number ranging from 300 to 850. Financial education will help keep your credit up and will help with many other problems that deal with money. Saving the money you already have play a vital role in wanting to become a homeowner. Recording your expenses will be a huge help with gaining what you need to keep your credit up. Since coming to the Pineywood School, Pineywood has helped me further my thoughts about how society lacks making the African American community equal with many other races. As an African American young man, I don't face with many issues that have been seen in the world today. I can most definitely relate to my topic while many in my family has had problems with wanting to own homes, but being in the African American family, it is harder for them to do these things as such. You may be wondering, why did Jayden choose this topic? As I further my education in college, this topic will play a big part in the management career that I want to take part in. Now I have a video of research done by Rice University.
The title is Emerging Forms of Racial Inequality and Homeownership Exit from 1968 to 2009. And what we wanted to do was to investigate the extent to which racial disparities and transitioning from homeownership back to renting existed over a 40-year period, but not only looking at a gross disparity, but also examining whether or not African Americans were more likely to exit their homes later over the last few decades, starting in the 1990s, compared to similar whites. The main contribution of this research is the fact that we go back 40 years and look at racial differences in homeownership exit over time. So the housing literature and housing equality literature has focused mainly on access to homeownership and the fact that there's been a decline in the racial gap in homeownership. But on the flip side of the coin, very few studies, if any, have looked at the long-term impacts of racial inequality and the extent to which blacks are more likely to exit their homes than whites. And what we were able to find is, in addition to what's gone on in the foreclosure crisis, is that if you go back to the late 60s, 1970s, and even early 1980s, black homeowners were no more or less likely to exit their homes for renting than were similar whites. And so this disparity has just recently, in the last couple of decades, really emerged, and this is something that hasn't been documented before.
And now, I would like to thank my Pineywood's family and the class of 2022. In conclusion, life as an African American is most definitely challenging, but as a strong, intelligent community, we can get through any obstacle. Thank you for your patience.
Okay, let's have another round of applause. Thank you for attending our speeches and paying attention. I think that you'll find something very interesting that you can take away and learn something from each one of these speeches. We will resume the senior speeches the week after we return from spring break. So we will be back with a presentation on Thursday and Friday of that week. Thank you.
Thank you. Would you all give another round of applause for young people? Another outstanding job. As I said yesterday, I am going to withhold some comment. I'm going to withhold some comment until we've heard from everyone. But super proud of you all. For some of you wondering why some of us are as proud as we are, is because we've lived with some of these folks for 4+ years, And so when we see them doing this, this is not where they started. This is not where they started. So this is an incredible time. It's an incredible time. I thank y'all. Wonderful, wonderful job. Looking forward to hearing the rest of our young people. Any announcements this morning? Integrity. We've been seeing acts of character as our young people stand before us, and we hope that this morning we look forward to seeing more of that. But I'm gonna stay on this notion of integrity just for a little while longer. This morning I'm gonna sit down. I'm gonna let our seniors come again. Been excited to hear from them, and excited again this morning about what they have to offer. That's it for me, Dr. Beatty.
Good morning, faculty, staff, students. This morning we'll have 3 more senior speech presentations. Let me introduce the judges to you once again. Miss Mandy Adams, Miss Lindsay Hargrove, Mrs. Adrian Robertson, and Miss Sharia Smith. Thank you. Our first presenter will be Joshua Fox.
Good morning, administrators, faculty, staff, students, and friends. My name is Joshua Fox, a graduating senior here at the Hawinet School from Freeport, Bahamas, and I am here today to present to you my senior speech. There are constant shifting debates in the sports world. Athletes are being placed on a pedestal in society, with the influence of those like Stephen Curry, Serena Williams, and Cristiano Ronaldo, for example. I am a basketball player aspiring to play at both the collegiate and professional level. Therefore, I can relate to the challenges of being an athlete, from excruciating training to maintaining a healthy diet and sustaining mental health. Today, we will be taking a deep dive into a very convenient topic, which is, should college athletes be paid or not? The National Collegiate Athletic Association, also known as the NCAA, was established in 1906 by President Teddy Roosevelt. This nonprofit organization was established to implement safety measures and eligibility rules for intercollegiate sports. On July 1st, 2021, the NCAA has adjusted their rules to whereas athletes can now profit off of their image and likeness. However, these athletes are not receiving salaries from these institutions. These athletes are at risk to career-ending injuries and other sorts of other factors that I will discuss in my speech today. In 2019, James Wiseman, center for the University of Memphis men's basketball team, was suspended for 12 games from receiving pay from head coach Penny Hardaway. This is an example of how the NCAA is serious and suspends those that refuse to comply with these rules. These college sports are placed nationally on television. These players receive a lot of attention, and with this comes a multitude of people spending money to watch these players play or even purchasing their jerseys. These athletes also sacrifice their bodies. An athletic scholarship can be on the line, and these athletes are not compensated. Many of these athletes are prone to career-ending injuries. For example, Freddie Steenmark and Derrick Rowland. Many of these athletes find it very difficult to pay bills while they're in college. This discourages them from even going to college and forces them into a professional career. For instance, LeBron James. It is my dream to follow in my brother's footsteps. Growing up, this is the guy that I looked up to. It was hard living in my brother's shadow back home. Because back home, all I would hear is, you're the next little kiddo. And I experienced a lot of pressure coming from where I'm from, because to tell you the truth, I'm not supposed to be here. From hurricanes to houses being filled up with water, it was hard. But this guy is who helped me push. This guy is who I aspire to be, because it is my goal to be the next person in my family to obtain a college degree while playing a Division I sport, which in my case is basketball. Although my big brother gave me tough love because I never could please him after games, I would just like to take this time, even though he's all the way in the Bahamas, to let him know that I love him. And I appreciate everything that he has done for me. Being here at the Hawinet School, it has been shown to me that getting a quality education is essential. On the other hand, to my thesis, the counter-argument is, why is it that these college athletes are not paid? Is it because many of them are on full-ride scholarships? Or is it the free gear and food that they receive? The main purpose of going to college is to receive a quality education, so paying these athletes may deter them from this goal. Being here at the Hawinet School, it has been shown to me that getting a quality education is essential. Despite having basketball goals to reach, it is important for me to use basketball as an avenue to get to where I need to go in life. Firstly, I would like to thank you all for accepting me as one of your own. It was not easy leaving my people back home where I've grown up and spent my whole entire life there. Next, I would like to thank the class of 2022. Thank you for this bond that we've made, and thank you for accepting me. Despite me coming late, I still feel a part of this family. Next, I would like to thank the coaches that gave me this opportunity to leave my country for a better opportunity. Thank you to Coach Tripp, Coach Fitzgerald, Coach Carr, and Coach Crean. I also would like to thank the cheerleaders for cheering us through the good and the bad this season. And lastly, I can't forget my brothers, my team. Please stand. To you all boys, it's been a hell of a ride. From the early mornings, to us fighting, to us asking each other why you're not passing the ball, and my favorite, the deep thrill and scare on our faces when Coach says, shortest to tallest. But despite all of that, I thank you boys for a roller coaster season, and I love you all. As I am closing, those that I did not mention do not feel ashamed. I'm a tall guy, but I have a big heart. So I appreciate every one of y'all. Thank you for your time, and God bless.
Our next presenter will be Ms. Shoshana Williams.
Good morning. Good morning, faculty, staff, students, and class of 2022. My name is Shoshana Williams. I am a graduating senior from Jackson, Mississippi, and today I will be presenting my research speech about the impact of skin conditions and emotional well-being. I hope you enjoy and learn something new today from my speech. Why does skin have such a strong influence on your emotions? My Beauty Island article said, experts and dermatologists believe that skin does not only have to suffer from the cold, but it is strongly influenced by the mood associated with these changes. Everybody thinks your skin is only affected by the weather outside and the seasons, but research has proven that it is more to it than that. And from personal experience, I can tell you that it is true. My studies show that skin and emotions both have a significant impact on each other and could possibly end up doing a lot of damage to the body. It could potentially result to a disorder called psychodermatological, known as PD. It not only affects our appearance, but how others perceive us. PD is a condition that involves the mind and the skin. PD is also associated with skin conditions that are not directly connected to the mind, but reacts to the emotional state, such as stress. Did you ever wonder what controls these emotions that we deal with every day? It is called the limbic system. The limbic system is a complex system of nerves and networks in the brain, involving several areas near the edge of the cortex, concerning asthenia and mood. It controls the basic emotions, fear, pleasure, anger, and drives sex, hunger, and care of offspring. If these emotions get out of control, it could lead to depression. Some of the depression that you could develop are major depression and situational depression. Major depression is depressed mood or long-term loss or interest in life, with other symptoms such as disturbed sleep, feeling of guilt, suicidal thoughts. If depression gets out of control, there is no guaranteed strategies that could help you avoid depression, but you could try enhancing self-esteem, managing difficult situations, and talking with family and friends. You might wonder why I chose this topic and what it means to me. Well, I've been passionate about skin and its wonderful ways, like how it repairs itself when it is damaged, how it protects you from the cold, and how it shields you from the heat of the sun. My 9th grade year, I suffered from a skin problem. I was covered in inflammatory rashes from my chest on down to my stomach. My doctors did not know what I had at the time. I felt like I had to wear extra clothes just to make the people around me feel more comfortable. Piney Woods taught me how to overcome tough challenges and be more open to the people around me. So therefore, I chose this opportunity to tell you guys to be confident in the skin that you are in. I plan on majoring in psychology after I graduate from Piney Woods to learn more about the brain and the behaviors of the brain. I want to thank my teachers for taking the time out and putting their knowledge in my brain. I want to thank my parents and my siblings, Chandrell and Amari, for helping me get through these long, crazy 12 years. I want to thank my friends for supporting me and helping me get this far. And finally, I want to thank my Piney Woods family as a whole for taking me in, nurturing me, helping me grow, and helping me get through what we call life itself. Thank you.
Thank you, Shoshana. Our next presenter will be Mr. Kendall Peterson.
Yeah, Kendall.
Yeah.
many people in the world find it hard to be intrigued in learning, especially in the way best suited for them. But what if I told you there's a way to combine entertainment and learning into something more interesting? Good morning, my name is Kendall Peterson, a senior from Canton, Mississippi. I'm here to talk to you about how animation can help you or anyone learn in a more easier and efficient way. Learning is the basis of everything. You can't do something efficiently without learning how to do it first. And let's be honest, learning something new could be tiring at times. It could be boring, and it could be stressful. We usually see animation as a tool of entertainment. So why not try and combine the two? Wouldn't it be nice to enjoy learning? If you say yes, then you're in luck, because it already exists. Educational animation is animation that's made for the specific purpose of harboring education. Shows like Word Girl, which increases the viewer's vocabulary, and shows like Blaze and the Monster Machines, which teaches the viewer about science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. These are only two of the many shows that you can find broadcasted on television. If you're looking for more complicated topics, YouTube harbors many educational animators, many content creators that make educational animation. For example, Ted Ed, a YouTuber who has accumulated over 16 million subscribers, making educational animations about visual arts, health studies, and even business. Another example, in a nutshell, a content creator on YouTube who makes educational animations about complicated science topics, such as what if the Earth was kicked out of the solar system, or the concept of wormholes. Another way animation helps people learn better is breaking down complicated actions that can't be explained efficiently through another person's words or a book. Professions like doctors, architects, astronauts, or any job that has dangerous or complicated actions utilize 3D animation and virtual technology to simulate surgeries, the spatial qualities of an architectural project, or rocket procedures. The last way animation helps people learn better that I will be talking about is its major role in e-learning. E-learning is learning conducted via electronic media, typically on the internet. Animation enhances and even guides its learners to feel more engaged in the topic. In some cases, animation allows the learner to feel. In some cases, animation allows e-learning. In some cases, animation allows e-learning courses for more interactivity and is great at targeting audiences. Animation is an effective tone setter in e-learning. Animation as a visual as well as a sonic medium is capable of embodying different emotions that empower and entice the learner. It is capable of making different emotions that help the learner relax and inspire them to work harder at their course. You're probably wondering why I'm talking so good about animation. And the reason is because when I graduated from Piney Woods, I want to major in animation and show the world my creativity and how much I can inspire people and make the world laugh. And I want to thank the many people at Piney Woods and the environment and the people that gave me many opportunities to increase my artistic ability. I want to thank the class of 2022 for always giving me advice on my drawings and allowing me to get better as an artist and animator. I want to thank my brother Kareem for always dealing with me for the 3 years and helping me find myself. I want to thank Ms. Crosley for giving me many artistic opportunities in colleges and giving me advice. I want to thank all my teachers for giving me advice about my artistic abilities. And last but not least, I want to thank my wonderful girlfriend, Ariana Smith, for helping me improve in my artistic ability. Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Let's pray. Lord, we thank you now for this day, and we thank you for bringing us all together once again. We thank you for the season of repentance and focus upon you and rolling in our lives. Help us that we might draw closer to you as we consider the things you would have us to do throughout our life. Help us that we might learn and grow close to one another, that we might spread love and joy and peace throughout this community and every place that we go. Be with us on today as we prepare to leave this space and go out into the world. Cover us as we represent you in the spaces that we go and the people that we see and the things that we do. Bring us back safe as one people. Now, God, as we prepare to receive our young people, bless them as they come before us. Give them strength and courage and knowledge and remembrance. Bless us to be good listeners in this moment, in this time, as they share with us. May we all be blessed. May we all be encouraged.
Good morning, everyone. As Dr. Crosley said, this is our final day of senior speeches, and we're very excited about that we're finishing off today with 4 speeches. The first speech will be given by Desmond Bohannon.
Girl, what you doing? Are you picking out your outfit for this? Stop! Girl, what are you doing? I want to know what you got. Listen, girl, these darn children, get on your...
Children are suffering from a hidden epidemic of child abuse and neglect. It is a widespread war against our children that we have the power to stop. Good morning, my name is Desmond Bohannon, and today I'll be talking about the effects that child abuse has on depression in adulthood. Child abuse means when a child is abused mentally, physically, or sexually by an adult or a caregiver. According to childhelp.org, the United States has one of the worst records of any industrialized nation of child abuse and neglect. The U.S. loses between 4 and 7 children every day to child abuse and neglect. Child abuse affects our society because those children that are abused grow up to be very miserable and depressed human beings. Researchers also say that these experiences get coded to the DNA and passed down from generation to generation. The World Health Organization, otherwise known as WHO, has shared some startling statistics. 300 million children aged 2 to 4 regularly suffer physical punishment or psychological violence at the hands of caregivers and adults. Consequences of child maltreatment include lifelong impaired physical and mental health problems. A child who is abused is more likely to abuse others as they become an adult. Since doctors don't always know about the legitimate reason between abuse and depression, they tend to only treat the physical symptoms. It is not just physical symptoms that adult victims of child abuse exhibit. They are also at risk for behavior and mental health problems. 3 ways abuse continues to affect adults in their adulthood. They present a false self to the world so people will love them. 2, they think of themselves as victims who have no self-control. 3, they exhibit passive-aggressive behavior. If you grew up in a home where anger was expressed through violence, you tend to suppress any anger and just that anger to avoid any abuse from any adult in the household. Research shows that there are many brain abnormalities seen and that head trauma can cause shrinkage in the area linked to memory storage. Constant stress can also alter the brain's fear processing center and affect the immune system. Neglect and verbal abuse can cause changes in behavior and can be detected in brain scans. Over here, we have a healthy brain of a child that has not been abused. Over here, we have an abused brain. As you can tell, this area in the middle is darker in the abused brain than the area over here in the healthy brain. Child abuse remains very common throughout the world, especially in the United States. In 2019, over 600,000 cases of child abuse were reported, and the common maltreatment was neglect. Future generations can be affected by this. Because of the way in our generation depression is so high from child abuse, there's not just child abuse being physical, there's also sexual abuse. Sexual abuse means when a child or a person is taken advantage of sexually without their consent. There's ways to stop these cycles. By educating the adults to help educate the children, there's many ways. 1, make a coherent narrative out of your story. 2, learn techniques to calm yourself. 3, lead by example. How many times do we tell children to use their words and not use violence, but we do not preach what we say? 4, repair. Because we're not always perfect, we tend to always make mistakes. The best thing we could do is to repair.
Mama, this doggone children can't get them
Raise your hand if you know anyone that's been abused, whether it's been physically or sexually. Well, like everybody else, I know people that's been affected by abuse. This woman right here is my mother. She had a very rough childhood up until she was adopted by my grandmother, Dr. Tillman. Because of the opportunity to be able to stay with my grandma, my mother experienced a better childhood. One of those better opportunities was she came to Piney Woods. As you can see, she was cheer captain, and she was a part of the JROTC program that was here. My father, on the other hand, lost his father when he was 14. Because he lost his father, he became very depressed. With both of my parents having depression run through them, I was always told this saying, hurt people hurt people. What that means is, when someone is hurt, they tend to hurt others to make themselves feel equal to them, or to make that person feel equal. Because of witnessing a lot of abuse, whether it be verbal or physical, I became depressed myself. Witnessing a lot of it tend to cause me to have dark thoughts. Those dark thoughts caused me to write a lot of my feelings, because whether my parents had an opportunity or not, I took the better route instead of just being so verbal and violent. With writing came music, and because I love music a lot, I tend to write a lot of my anger and put it into music. As everyone knows, my future goals is to be a rapper or a music producer. Another opportunity I took being here, was coming to Piney Woods. And it has not always been a walk in the park. But I am very grateful to Dr. Crosley and Ms. Crosley for allowing me to come to this school and stay here. I came my 10th grade year, and it was a very rough first year for me. As everybody that was here 10th grade year, Y'all know how that went. 11th grade year was better. Senior year, which is this year, has to be one of the best years I've experienced. As I get ready to close out and go to my thank yous, I will say this. If you see something, say something. I would like to thank my teachers, especially all the teachers I've had, especially Dr. Beatty, Dr. Nika, and Mr. Patrick, because I feel like without them especially, I would not be standing on the stage right now. I would like to thank the staff members, academic office, Ms. Crosby again, Ms. Robertson, Mr. Lewa, which I know a lot of people are shocked that I said Mr. Lewa because of my relationship with him. But despite what people know, Mr. Lewa has always tried to keep me out of trouble because everybody knows where trouble is, Dwayne gonna be near it. I would like to thank my friends, but I don't really have friends. And the reason is because I have family, and I have a bunch of group of families in here. First, I would like to thank my actual birth family. I'd like to thank my mom, Shannon. I'd like to thank my grandma, Dr. Tillman. I'd like to thank my great-grandmother, Mama Jessie. And I'd like to thank my dad, who's not here with us, but I think he's on the phone. And I would like to thank another group of people. I have two more groups, but this second group came out 4 beautiful sisters. Please stand. Tamaya, Ariana, Savannah, Mariah. Without the 4 of these girls, I don't know where I would be. I think these 4 girls were probably the first group of girls that actually took a liking to me and actually stuck with me without any extra drama that went along. They've been there with me through a lot of the stuff that I've dealt with, whether it been relationship problems, friendships, schoolwork, family problems. Caesar is not here with us today, but I would like to thank him because he's the closest thing I got to a brother, because as everyone knows, I'm the only child. I would like to thank, the last people I would like to thank is my classmates. As much as we've argued and fought and been down each other's throats, all because we just couldn't get along or agree on something, I'm very grateful that I've met all of y'all. I'm grateful for Nati, Sahiya, Trey, Rel, Shoshana, all of y'all. Landyn, especially Landyn, and he's not here. But one person I'm very grateful for is Kendall. Because, well, a lot of people don't know, me and Kendall met before we became students here. And Kendall has put up with a lot of the stuff that I've dealt with, despite any past issues. He's put up with a lot of stuff. He's listened to my stories and everything. And that's a friendship that I do not want to end. So, like I said, as I close out, if you see something, say something. Thank you.
Thank you, Dwayne. As you'll see, these are very special speeches on our last day. Our next presenter is Mr. Relly Gray. Thank you.
In times of crisis, most of us feel powerless, but few discover in themselves unexpected strength. Eddie Lamar. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, staff and faculty, and students of the Hawinet School. My name is Relly Gray, and I am a graduating senior from Detroit, Michigan. Today, I'm up here to discuss hardware engineering and its impact on hardware developers. Quickly, I wish to ask you all to think back to a time in your life where you or a loved one was met with a difficult task or uncertainty. But when I think back, I'm reminded many times of my grandparents and their difficult transition into a new modern era with new technological advancements. My grandparents were born in the 1940s and 50s, and this was right in line with the great boom in TV sales, which from 1946 to 1951 jumped from 6,000 to 12 million households. This was also 20 years before the first phones were ever invented. I tell you all this so that you understand how lackluster their transfer into today's society has been. Now, I'm sure some of you are curious. What is a hardware developer? A hardware developer is the specific career choice for computer engineering. Their roles are to research, design, test, and develop computer systems and components. Computer hardware refers to the physical, tangible computer equipment and devices, which provide support for major functions such as input, output, secondary storage, and communication. Now that I've gotten definition out of the way, let's get into numbers. With only 80,000 hired workers here in the United States, hardware engineering is not the first career choice for many people. Especially not, it's not really. Okay, anyways. On the other hand, hardware engineering is one of the most top paid engineering careers. According to computercareers.org, their research found that first-year college graduates can earn anywhere from $61,000 to $76,000 in their first year. As a hardware engineer, you have opportune moments where your work is shared with network architects, computer operators, support specialists, and research and information scientists. This allows you to see how well your work performs in different fields and how to catch or avoid future errors. It is my dream that after graduating college, I can go straight into a career of hardware engineering. In order for me to do that, I'll first need to graduate with a professional diploma in computer engineering. Computer engineers also gain notable achievements in today's society, from creating innovative technologies that impact many people, to designing applications that millions of people use daily, to transforming careers for the better. The technology that we have today wouldn't have been possible without pioneers such as Steve Wozniak and Jobs, who are the creative designers of Apple, and Blaise Pascal, who is the creator of the mechanical calculator. Hardware techniques and environments are undergoing significant transformation in the field of information research nowadays. These new technological advancements are important, especially in developing new software. And as the software is paired together with hardware, faster and faster can better technology be produced. Over on this table, these are a few examples of modern day hardware that are used in servers and computers that people like you use daily. In recent years, storage, processor, network technologies have made immense breakthroughs, with a growing set of new hardware, architecture, and features that are becoming the foundation of future computing platforms. This new hardware would change the traditional computer, storage, and network systems and put a direct impact on the design schemes for future advancements. As I wrap up my speech, I'd first like to give thanks to my grandparents, for they have raised and shaped me into the man I've become today. And though they are not here today, I really wish they were. Secondly, I want to give thanks to the Pinewood School, for they have given me opportune moments where my skills were put to the test, and I thank you for that. They have taught me the value of time. They've taught me the value of time and brought more out of me than I realized possible. Finally, I want to give thanks to the class of 2022. For without them, I've never learned how to handle behavioral specific situations. And I appreciate all of the friends that I've made here, last year and this year. Many thanks to you all for listening patiently these last couple of weeks, as me and my peers have given our speeches. And I hope that you continue to listen patiently, as these last two give their speeches. Thank you.
Thank you, Relly. Our next presenter will be Trey Weather.
That's him.
Good morning. My name is Trey Weather, and I'm a graduating senior here at the Hawinet School in Shreveport, Louisiana. Today, I'd like to talk to y'all about how music has changed and shaped the world that we live in today through its political and civil rights movements. Let's start in the days of African slavery. During this time, African slaves would use music to keep their culture alive through marriages, births, deaths, and funerals. They would also send coded messages to one another to tell the daily works of the plantation and what was going on. Examples of these songs are Wade in the Water, Swing Low Sweet Chariot, Follow the Drinking Gourd, and Amazing Grace.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see.
These coded lyrics were the foundation of something revolutionary, i.e. the Underground Railroad. The Underground Railroad was a network system of abolitionists who helped enslaved blacks get to freedom. These railroad stops gave slaves food, water, shelter, directions, clothing, and occasionally ammunition. Now let's move to the Civil Rights Movement. During the Civil Rights Movements of the 1960s, music played a similar part, and that these songs contributed to groundbreaking communications from a culture within a culture, which set the tone for future movements and protests in the 21st century. Songs such as What's Going On by Marvin Gaye, A Change Is Gonna Come by Sam Cooke, and Say It Loud, I'm Black and I'm Proud by James Brown. All songs that depicted the harsh realities of what black men and women faced in this time.
I was born by the river in a little tent. Oh, and just like that river, I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes it will.
During the Civil Rights Movement, many remarkable things happened, such as the Greensboro 4, Montgomery bus boycott, Little Rock 9, and many other courageous acts by our people. But even with these great things, we still faced a violent pushback from the opposition, such as the 16th Street Baptist Church bombing, killing Denise McNair, Adam Mae Collins, Cynthia Wesley, and Kel Robinson, and the tragic losses of Emmett Till and Jackson's own Medgar Evers. But still, even with this violent pushback, we still sang and marched for freedom and equality. But even with the Civil Rights Movement ending only a few decades ago, we as a people still face many injustices now, including unfair pay, police brutality, and an overall lack of resources. Along with the tragic losses of Dante Wright, Breonna Taylor, Tatiana Jefferson, Trayvon Martin, and George Floyd, and so many more who have not gotten the respectful press that they deserve. In 2013, a new movement was born. Black Lives Matter was in its infancy and was a fast marketed protest by our youth. We saw an increase in kente cloth, the black national flag colors incorporated into our everyday attire, and more natural hairstyles. We also had some of today's biggest artists contribute songs to our cause. Songs such as F the Police by NWA, which became almost a new black anthem in the recent George Floyd protests, along with songs like The Bigger Picture by Lil Baby, where he states, "It's bigger than black and white. It's a problem with the whole way of life. If we gotta start somewhere, then we might as well start here. So why not start now? Why not start here?" So that's what we did. I chose this topic due to my deep passion for music. I believe that aside from the lyrics and the melodies, that the history behind these songs is so much richer. And I one day aspire to be like the legends I talked about today, from both a talent and production standpoint. I would like to take the time to thank God for the path that he has set me on, Coach Fitzgerald for calling me when I was back home to even come here and experience everything that I've experienced here, my nanny, who is not here with us now, but for never giving up on me and my brothers, and for always seeing the best in me and telling me to see the best in other people. My brothers and sisters back home, and I would also like to thank some people who are here today. When I came here, I told myself not to make friends, just to do my time, to graduate, but that's not how it worked. I would like to thank Kareem, Rel, Kendall, Amon, and Nell, for taking the time, for accepting me as myself and my flaws, and for listening to me when I had to talk about my story, and for listening and caring about me regardless of how things started, and for being with me now. Thank you so much to Mr. Patrick for being real and genuine, and for freestyling with me in class sometimes, and for all the hard work that you do, whether noticed or unnoticed. I'd also like to thank Dr. Beatty for all the countless hours she spent with us and all the stress that we put her through with these speeches. And a special thanks to Dr. Nika. I don't see her. Oh, special thanks to you. When I was back home, you actually texted me and gave me the numbers of some of my classmates here to help my transition here a little more pleasant.
That was me, sir.
It was. But also, thank you to everyone who is here today. Thank you to everyone who has supported me personally, supported my passion, my music, and my education. And to my classmates and my basketball team, thank you for accepting me as an outsider and making my transition here pleasant. God bless.
Thank you, Trey. This brings us to our final presentation for the senior speeches. This is not an easy thing to get up here and speak to, even though we know you and we're familiar with you, we live with you, and we see you every day. This is a lot of hours of practice, and I think they've done a fabulous job. They've done really well, and I'm so happy that it turned out like this. Okay, our final presenter is Ms. Sahiya Joseph.
I didn't want to wake up. I was having a much better time asleep, and that's really sad. It was almost like a reverse nightmare, like when you wake up from a nightmare, you're so relieved. But I woke up into a nightmare. Good morning. My name is Sahiya Joseph, and I'm a graduating senior from Orlando, Florida. And today I'll be talking about a connection that many don't recognize. Did you know that depression can affect your sleep cycle just as much as your sleep cycle can affect your depressive episodes? Depression is a common mood disorder. Depression is a common mood disorder that 1 in 3 adults suffer from. Although the causes of depression can vary, most agree that traumatic and stressful events, certain personality traits, and health issues can all be a cause. Depression disrupts every aspect of a person's life. It affects how you handle daily activities, how you feel and think about yourself and others. Depression is described as feeling a sense of sadness, anxiousness, or worthlessness for an extended period of time, no matter what is going on in your life. Another major symptom of depression is insomnia, which is a sleep disorder in which falling asleep or staying asleep is extremely difficult. Sleep is a recurring state of relaxing the mind and body that can also affect every aspect of a person's life. Because of how important sleep is, not sleeping well, sleeping at the wrong time, and sleep disorders can all be detrimental to your health. The way you feel and your ability to function on daily tasks can all be affected by the type of sleep, the total time, and your body's preparation for sleep. Lack of sleep can also cause microsleeping, which are short moments of sleep that happen when a person is awake that are uncontrollable and unnoticeable. These inconveniences can play a part in your depressive episodes. My research shows that a depressed mood is commonly reported with chronic sleep loss. And insomnia is presented in 3/4 of depressed patients. One of the main reasons depressed patients seek help is due to sleep disturbances, and is a proven risk factor for suicide. 40% of depressed young adults and 10% of depressed older adults suffer from hypersomnia, which is excessive daytime sleeping. I chose this topic because it's something that I've dealt with for most of my life. In elementary and middle school, I went through a series of unfortunate events that ultimately altered my entire personality. I went from an active, social, and happy child to quote-unquote lazy and withdrawn. You can tell by my face and my body language that something was wrong, but nobody seemed to understand. I spent several weeks in and out of hospitals, doctor's offices, leading up to my diagnosis, which includes persistent depressive disorder. During this time, I discovered my passion for healthcare. I connected with patients because I felt the frustration of not being able to get the pain to stop. I understood the desperation and the hopelessness of not just wanting the pain to stop, but everything too. My symptoms weren't just mental, they were physical too. I was nauseous from the overthinking, the slightest touch hurt, and I had headaches that felt like my mind was losing a battle against itself. Because of this, I now aspire to help all those in need. And although some days, most days, are still rough, I still thank Piney Woods for lending me a hand and teaching me to push through my struggles. And to my senior class, thank you for the lifelong memories, and I wish nothing but success. And as I finish, I want to remind you that it's important to take care of your mind and your body because they're equally important. Thank you.
I also want to say that these speeches were not something that they just wrote because these were actual research projects. The research was done off of university databases, and so the research, as you've heard, it's legitimate scientific research that was done to accompany the papers as well. Could we have another round of applause for this? Thank you again to the judges today, Ms. Mandy Adams, Ms. Lindsay Hargrove, Ms. Roberson, and Ms. Kay Garrett. And I'd also like to thank Nati, and also I'd like to thank Shoshana. These students have been up here every single night for 4.5 weeks with me, even when they had completed their speeches, working as peer review students and critique with the other students. And that concludes our senior speeches for this year.
this class, 2022. We are extraordinarily proud of each and every one of you. You did an outstanding job, which I will say more about in the future. But for now, I just want all of us to congratulate all of you for the hard work. And I really do mean that. For students who may not have seen me, sometimes at night I'm out on the campus. Yes, I'm out there sometimes. I came by here actually a few nights and have seen you all practicing and putting the work in. This is the first, I think this is the first year that everybody went without the crutch of a podium, right? And we could tell not only that you had done the work behind what you shared with us. We could tell that you had practiced how you were going to present it, and all of your work has shown in how you present it. And finally, we could tell, I certainly could tell, that your heart was in what you were sharing with us. And so, thank you all so much. We really, really honor you and appreciate you. One more round of applause for all of us.